guys, I'm Felicia from class 9E and I'm in the same group as Mora and Lorraine. Today our group will be discussing about the human nervous system. Now when you think of the human nervous system, of course the first thing that comes into your mind is neurons or the brain. Today we're going to be discussing more about it, about what it is, how it works, and what's happening inside the nervous system. So let's start with the main topic, which is the structure or the schematic of the nervous system. Now, the first two things we need to know about the nervous system is the central and the peripheral nervous system. Now, the central nervous system is responsible for processing a response to the signal from the external environment. For example, in this situation, we have someone touching a cactus, and of course cactus are sharp, and that sharp stimuli, which is also known for an external change of environment, is detected by the receptor in the skin cell or in any cell at the skin, that's the main one, and the receptor detects that signal and it sends it to the sensory neuron, which is another type of neuron that is responsible for carrying the signal from the receptor to the spinal cord, or at least to the relay neuron, which ends up at the brain, which immediately goes to CNS immediately, where the brain just processes a response to the stimuli outside. So once it thinks of a response, it then sends the response back to the spinal cord, and the spinal cord sends it to the motor neuron, which is a type of neuron that is responsible for carrying a response from the CNS to the effector. Now the effector is basically muscles or glands, like sweat glands, tear glands. Muscle can be a smooth muscle and skeletal muscle and all that. Now once the motor neuron carries the response from the CNS to the effector will immediately work, and that's where the response is carried out. For example, like the cactus example, we can see that the guy touches the sharp cactus and immediately goes away from it because the muscle gives out the response of moving away from the sharp object.
Hello everyone, my name is Mora. Today I will explain you about the nervous system, which is the central nervous system, or you can say is a CNS. So, what is central nervous system? Central nervous system is made up of the spinal cord and brain. Component of the human nervous system is composite of the brain and the spinal cord and contains the relay neuron, or you can say interneuron. The central nervous system integrates information from peripheral nervous and coordinate bodily responses. So the majority of this activity occurs in the brain, but contains responses can be mediated by the spinal cord.
So next is the part of the brains. First, we have the cerebrum, which makes up 85% of our human brain's weight, and it is also known as the large wrinkled lump that curves over and covers most of the parts of our human brain. And its surface area is kind of folded and wrinkled, so it has a larger surface area. And this folded surface area is what we call the cerebral cortex. So what is the function of the cerebrum? Well, first it controls your movement, then it controls your body's voluntary actions, and lastly it deals with consciousness, ideas, and feelings. So anything that deals with those three will have to rely on the cerebrum. So basically, the cerebrum is also divided into two parts, which is the left hemisphere and the right hemisphere. And the right hemisphere deals with most of the right part of our body, and it also deals mostly about logic things, which are math skills, scientific thinking, spoken and written language, writing skills, and like I said before, logical thinking. However, the left hemisphere deals with creativity, art, insight, musical stuff, and blah blah blah. Next up, we have another important part of the brain, which is the cerebellum. So the cerebellum lies at the rear lowermost part of the brain and behind the brainstem. And we can walk, stand, move, and just do anything, do any physical thing because of the cerebellum. Because the main function of the cerebellum itself is to coordinate balance, coordinate posture, movement, and checks movement as they happen. So, how does a cerebellum do its function? Well, first it responds to information that came from our eyes, our ears. They record the information that we get from our surroundings. And then these messages tell the brain about the position of your body or what the situation you're in at, and so your body will respond to it and do the action. Lastly, one of the other major parts of the brain is the brainstem. It is the stalk for the whole brain which connects the cerebrum and the spinal cord. And medulla is one of the main parts of this said brainstem. And the medulla controls most of our body's involuntary actions, namely controlling your heart rate, your breathing, swallowing, digesting, and so on.
So that's all you can know for the CNS in the human nervous system. It's very interesting that you can know the parts of the brain, you can know what the CNS even consists of, which is the brain and spinal cord and relay neurons and interneurons. But we're gonna talk about the PNS furthermore in the next video. So, see you guys there and bye!